Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel and of course available on the podcast across so many platforms. Delighted you could join us and thank you so much for all your support. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, and if you want exclusive content, additional content and prize giveaways, competitions aplenty, then don't forget to subscribe to PLZ Premium as well, where you would have got early access to David Moyes, and Ian Blackford, the MP, is talking all things Hibs, among other things in his political life at Westminster. Really a good listen and a good watch as well. So if you want to get it on the big TV, our research has told us that most of you are watching on YouTube on your big television. So we're delighted at that as well. I've been here all week. In contrast, we've got three new guests for you who haven't been here at all. Alan Ruff, Alison McConnell and Tam McManus. Three people who occasionally, if there's a sniffle, they take time off for the full week.
Poisoning, Peter.
Yeah?
I was at death's door, honestly, I was.
And
anybody seen me at the side of the road in Kirkcaldy on Monday, I apologise.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say to you is, remember it's a football show with football fans from all different levels. So, what happened that made you sick?
I don't know if it was an oyster or mussels.
Yeah. Which reminds me of the moment in year one of the football show where Ruffy said, "What are you doing at the weekend?" And Ruffy said, "Well, I'm taking the kids out on their horses," and completely alienated us from 80% of our audience.
I just thought I'd try it, Peter. Yeah. I've never tried oysters before, and I've tried one, and I'm never trying it again. I don't know what it's done to me.
Yeah.
But I was dying for 3 days.
Ali, oysters, is that a type of thing that you would partake in?
I don't like oysters.
What's the matter with you? This week?
I just had some time off. Is that okay?
All right. Can I just put it on record? I was axed.
Can I just put it on record as well? Ruffy was axed after the worst showing ever at the Drumchapel Amateurs 75th
Reverberated
anniversary.
around the Scottish speaker circuit.
To be fair, by the way, people in the Drumchapel area are now taping over the World Cups from 78 and 82 because he was absolutely murder. Anyway, listen, lots to talk about. Thank you to Stuart Heffy, Michael Taylor, Thomas Burns, Brian, Greg Stott, Hugh Burns as well. There's somebody called Luke Skywalker here, but nevertheless we're giving you a mention. Thank you to so many of you who have tuned in to our YouTube channel. We're delighted to join us in the football show. You're going to get opinion, maybe a wee bit of banter and a good noise up as well. And coming up over the next couple of weeks, there's lots of new developments and lots of competitions for you to get involved in. One of them, if you hit the PLZ Soccer's premium service, you're in the hat for 2 tickets to the Champions League final in the Puskas Arena, flights and accommodation thrown in. Well worth putting your name in there in PLZ Premium. And thank you to everyone who's noticed that we've put up a video with Lindsay Hamilton, who is, again, one of the ambassadors for Maggie's cancer support. And he was affected by it, and he tells his own story and shows you the type of support that Maggie's provides. And we're delighted they're our charity sponsor for the year. If you've been affected by someone contracting cancer, then Maggie's, certainly www.maggies.org is a place where you can get support. So let's have a look at the fixtures for the weekend. Back to domestic football, which is what Tam loves. He's rubbing his hands. Motherwell against Falkirk, Hibs against Livingston, St Mirren Aberdeen, Rangers Dundee United, Kilmarnock Hearts and Dundee against Celtic. So first stop, is he or isn't he? And it all seems like he's definitely coming. Kevin Muscat looks as if it's odds on he's going to be the new Rangers manager. It's certainly something that's thought-provoking for us all. Gives us a chance to look at all the newspapers saying, "We told you first," as they did with Steven Gerrard. So this man here, we heard from Charlie Adam in midweek, Ali, as a player, feisty, to say the very least. As a manager, different character.
Yeah, I think that's quite common with players who go into coaching, that they can be the antithesis of what they were as players.
Tony Mowbray's a great example.
Tony Mowbray was actually the one that I was about to suggest. I think even guys like Alan Stubbs, I think you can all, your philosophy when you were a player is very different to how you then see the game and how you want your own teams to go and play. I think it'll be an interesting appointment. He was very close when it was Philip Clement who took over the job. I think he comes with a track record of having had success in his coaching career, which I think will be important. I don't think it's quite the same as Gerrard's appointment if he had accepted the job, and that it would have unified the support very quickly and maybe just quietened down the atmosphere and the tension that's around the club's hierarchy. However, I think he will be seen as an acceptable appointment, but he needs to hit the ground running. I think when you look at the gap that exists just now, there is absolutely no margin for error for Rangers now. And
for all the certainty, Ruffy, that it was going to be Steven Gerrard, of course, you know, the word coming out is that just the timing wasn't right. You know, my sources tell me the timing wasn't right, was Rangers weren't going to pay his £5 million tax bill.
Yeah, I think there was other things as well. Obviously, the demands of his coaching staff and everything, and the people above who were making the decisions. I don't think he was too happy with the decision makers. That obviously had something to do with it as well. But he seems to have a wee bit of credential. But it's very apparent that we're now getting, as we usually get, a lot of ex-people who know him saying he's the one. You know, and I think there's a swell out there, as Alison says, to sort of convince the supporters that he is the number one, because that's the first thing he's got to do. We don't want to see the same carry on we had the last time with the supporters. So he's got to come in, as Alison said, he's got to hit the ground running, he's got to win games. I think he's still got to win them over. He has got a lot of credit in the bank from abroad, but the supporters will still be wanting a manager who's going to give them a winning team.
Yeah, you can say he is the one. My view on it is he's certainly the best one of the candidates that we're looking at. I mean, Danny Roll didn't exactly excite me. Steven Gerrard, equally so. I thought he was a failed manager. I didn't see the obsession with him. This guy has won titles in 3 different countries. So, you know, whether you want to be derogatory towards the standard of the leagues he was in, you still have to win them. So he's got something, Tam, and I think he was the best option of them all, and I also include Sean Dyche in this.
Yeah, listen, I think I'm on record as saying 2 years ago that I thought Kevin Muscat should have been the manager when Philip Clement got the job. He didn't get it. I think it was between the two of them. They went with Philip Clement, but a couple of weeks ago I said Kevin Muscat again. Again, he's a manager on an upward trajectory. You know, he's going to win a title in China, it looks like. He's won in Japan, he's won in Australia. He's a winner. He's a winner as a player. He plays a very attacking brand of football. I think Shanghai have scored 90 plus goals this season. You know, so they go on the front foot, they try and get after teams and try and, you know, and batter in the goals. So for me, I think he ticks a lot of boxes. He's been at Rangers. I remember playing against him when I was at Hibs. Tough tackling player. You know, didn't take any nonsense from anyone, and he won a treble at Rangers. So for me, he ticks a lot of boxes. I think Gerrard was the number one, but for me, I think that Kevin Muscat would be, I think he'd be a good manager for Rangers, Peter, if he gets the time. And we're speaking about, you know, getting time and hitting the ground running. Obviously, he has to hit the ground running, but there's got to be a period of bedding in for him to try and get his ideas across, which the last few Rangers managers just haven't got.
I think the Rangers fans have to basically say the rinse and repeat, the unrest, the anger at and displeasure at the manager selection has to be put on the back burner. I think he comes in 8 games from now, if that's the way it pans out, Alison. I think he comes in and they just say, listen, we're going to give you the January transfer window, we're going to give you the summer transfer window. The expectation might be from the fans, make it interesting, but you're not going to win the league.
You would have to say it looks as though the league has gone. It's too big a gap to
Is it too early?
back.
Somebody actually posted a message saying everybody should get a grip. It's too early, and you guys are all...
2 teams, Peter, is the one for me. I think if you're chasing 1, but you're needing 2 to drop points, I think it makes it more difficult. Realistically,
you would have to say it looks as though it's gone. It would have to be blemish-free, almost perfect, between now and the end of the season, and then that would be a real contrast to how the campaign began. You're looking to turn it round immediately. I'm not sure that that's a realistic proposition. You also have to factor in the fact that the club spent a lot of money across the summer backing Russell Martin, and then you're talking about going into a January transfer window with fresh recruits. You run the risk of having a really bloated squad and then trying to keep everyone happy and get the right chemistry and the right balance on the pitch. So he will have his work cut out. He also, if it is Kevin Muscat, we know he won't come until later next month. So you're talking mid-November before you're getting their teeth into a job. That's a big ask even now for this Rangers side to keep it going, to make sure it's steady even until then. Is
it a big ask if they drop Neil McCann in there, as has been suggested?
To me, it would be sensible.
Yeah.
Somebody who knows the club, knows the league, knows the structure around the club, knows the players, was in very, very recently. It looks like common sense to me to make an appointment like that.
Yeah, Hugh Burns says Kevin Muscat made Gregor Stevens look like a choir boy. And for the benefit of people under the age of 40, Gregor Stevens came from a period of football, Ruffy, it's fair to say, where Willie McVie,
Miller,
the boy Miller, Peter Miller at Motherwell, their first 3 tackles were leg breakers, and then after that they settled down into the game.
Yep, I remember.
You always get away with your first tackle back then, didn't you? Yeah. First tackle ref.
I remember playing with one of them you'd left out there, the big centre half, Willie McVie.
He was died out of the game.
Well, yeah, that was with his own team.
Yeah.
No, that all these ones you've mentioned there, yeah, that was one at all costs, you know. And but I don't remember much about him, but certainly he's dodged the 2nd of November.
No, semi-final.
He's dodged that. You know, I don't think that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't think
obviously
think he's legitimately dodged it. It's just the way that he.
Yeah, I know, but you could look at it and say if he was here and he won it, that would be an immediate. You know, the fans, you know, getting right behind him. But he's not going to be here for that. So he's got the league games obviously to try and win.
Yeah. So Stephen Smith, and again, you know, I've watched him on a number of occasions. Obviously. He takes the under-19s, I think it is. So what a day it's going to be for him and his family. Just sometimes, okay, he's never going to be the permanent manager, but he's got a great chance to just go in there, in the dressing room, and deliver a speech as the interim Rangers manager. He'll never take it away from him.
Yeah, brilliant. I think he's obviously came through the ranks. He obviously played for Rangers and had a good career. And coming in, you know, working his way up the youth levels at Rangers into the reserves, he probably never thought that this opportunity would come so quickly. But you know, football's an amazing game. You know, you can find yourself thrust into the forefront of a massive club. I've seen a couple of his press conferences. He speaks well. You know, he looks as if he knows his stuff, and he'll go in and try and get a performance out of the guys against Dundee United. So brilliant for him, brilliant for his family to walk out at Ibrox as a manager of Rangers. It might never happen again, but you can always say that he's played for Rangers and he's managed Rangers. So. You know, for his sake, you know, he'd be wanting to go out there and get a victory. And listen, if he gets a couple of victories, maybe not at Rangers, but other clubs might go, he's got something. He might go and find himself in another decent job.
Yeah. Do you think, is that a day when you go out in the trackies, or do you wear the full suit?
Oh, I think he's an absolute certainty. I like a bet, Peter. He's an absolute certainty to be wearing a suit and brogues.
No chance.
100%.
Stonewall.
I agree with Tam.
Stonewall. Stephen Smith will have brogues. Brown brogues and a suit on.
I don't think so.
100. I agree. I agree.
Rob Martin gets slaughtered for wearing
exactly.
jeans and armies.
Exactly.
Ruffy,
brands are available.
I'm going for a tracksuit.
No, I'm a tracksuit as well. He's a coach. He's not a manager. He's not a manager.
Ruffy.
I've already lost to you this week, so I'm not doing that again. No, but what are they going to do next week at the European tie? Who's going to take care of them there?
Neil
McCann?
I think they might bring him in. That would be the sensible thing, as Alison mentioned there.
They might have to bring someone in like that because of the regulations of his pro licence.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point, actually. So the change is coming, nevertheless. And the funny thing about it is, and the general feeling I'm getting, Chris says, talk of brogues is embarrassing. What is this, a fashion show? Chris, lighten up, son. It's only football, for God's sake. You know, we haven't got David Dimbleby on the show. We're not actually delivering something at a Peace Corps, you know. It's people wear brogues. It's a nonsense, you know. It's a laugh.
He's got to get staunch right away. Staunch. Get the fans behind you. Just feel staunch.
You're upset, Chris. He wants you to talk about formations. But you know, the realistic aspect of this is, they'll want to try and get the results in and stay in it. But I have my fears about this. Even with Neil McCann in there, with that squad, I think, you know, they could lose even further ground.
There's a fragility still about this Rangers team, both on the park and the mentality among the squad. And that would be the first element that you would probably want to address. I think you would want to set them up to be hard to beat. They've lost a lot of goals. They've given away loads of chances within games. I think you would start at the back. You would look to that defensive line and try and make it as tight and as organised as possible. I think that would be your first task. Lay the foundations, make it as simple as possible, and go out and just try and steady the ship a bit, because part of the unrest isn't going to dissipate so quickly. When you look at the abuse that Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell have come in for, I suspect you might still have echoes of that again tomorrow. I think the support are still very disgruntled about the running of the club and the hierarchy. I'm not sure that that's just going to evaporate entirely with the imminent appointment of Kevin Muscat. So we spoke to John Souttar today, who referenced how odd it has been and how difficult it has been playing in those circumstances. I'm not sure that's entirely going to clear, and I think if they don't start on the front foot and they don't start well, and Dundee United get a sniff of anything, then the atmosphere will remain pretty toxic at points.
Yeah, the other thing about it, Ruffy, which you hear rumblings in the background, it's a new board. It's a board that's a business. And I think a lot of people are slightly miffed at some of the ways they're going about their business. But I think the old guard has gone now, and that kind of a struggle for power is gone as well now, and they're going to do it regardless of the noise that comes from elsewhere. I mean, I hear some people well miffed that they've turned, I think the old Blue Room's now turned into a cocktail bar. That's just the latest of the madness that's going on. But that's the way they will see it. Probably the next thing that I think will happen, with great gusto, is they'll start to look at a real American feel about coming to the game. I think a lot of clubs are looking at it that way. I know we did a feature on Motherwell, and there's going to be a situation where you are going to come to a game, Tam, and there's going to be another area built within the grounds where basically everybody can come and enjoy entertainment, drinks, a lot. I know when I get down to, remember we went down to Anfield and there was the boy was up on the stage singing, and then everybody was enjoying a baby. Obviously you took it too far, but still had a good night.
Yeah, I think they will try and Americanise it. Myself and Ruffy have obviously played in America, and it's an entertainment. It's a date. I played in the top league. I don't know what Ruffy played in, but aye.
Ruffy played with George Best. Doesn't really need any more than that.
Have you got an All-Star jersey? Did you get picked for the All-Star team at the end of the season? You're not lying, Torag.
So glad you said Torag. Did you get picked for the All-Stars?
Yes, I got my jersey, yeah.
Wow, you sold that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you did. Anyway.
They'll try and Americanise it, Peter, and it's amazing because at the very start, obviously, remember, there was Uncle Sam's and the flags when the American owners took over. Now everything gets scrutinised when things are going wrong, Peter, at a club, and that's whether that's the owners, the staff, what the manager's wearing. It's just everything comes under the spotlight. So
I've got a funny feeling they don't grasp the winning at all costs. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that they're coming from a structure that you win every week. Because if you watch the American football, like the 49er, they don't win every week. They might have won one or two, and I think they're now coming into a scenario, and I think they're going to get an eye opener of we need to win all the time. There's none of this draws. They don't have draws in the American football, so I think it'll be an eye opener for them, and just to see how they deal with it.
There's two aspects to it. You have a theory that you can work and give someone time, even if it's not working. And then you have the reality of living that theory when you have protests outside the dressing room, when your manager's trying to prepare a team for a game, and all of a sudden there's a realisation that something can become unsustainable very quickly.
Ronnie Chapman says, that's not right, Peter. I was in on Wednesday for the tour with my son. The Blue Room never had drink, or I would have had one. He says, no, I think it's on match days I was talking about, Ronnie, because there used to be a traditional place where, directors and
I think they've changed a lot. I think they've changed the room. They've changed the room. I think Wee Barry's got a Legends room where there's two tables in this room, and it's obviously exclusive to certain people.
Yeah.
So they look after that room. But I think they have changed a lot of things inside Ibrox.
Okay, Rangers, Dundee United. Jim Goodwin's just talking about the fact that it's the best squad he's probably ever had. Signed 14 players, Ruffy, and when you look at Dundee United and where they are in the league, I think he's got to be happy with their start. Probably, I think he let a couple slip that I thought he was going to win But other than that, he's got to be happy with the way they've started.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a given, that game. You know, I think he's already been on record to say he's now, for the first time, he's been at a team where he's got 2 people for every position. So that's always a good thing. They have had some impressive results. So, no, I think there'll be a handful at the weekend, and Rangers will have to be up for it.
It's one of those ones, Ruffy, where you set it up beautifully and then you're going to say 3-0 Rangers.
It's like that.
Dundee United are 4th in the table, Ruffy. Rangers are 8th. So if Rangers can get the win, they'll leapfrog over Dundee United. How do you see it going? United obviously off the back of that defeat.
Yeah, no, I think Dundee United will be good enough to think they could get a draw at that game.
Yeah, you going for a draw?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw, 1 each.
Ali?
2-1 Rangers.
I'm going to go for a draw, 1-1.
I'm going to go for an upset. You know, talking 4th against 8th. I'm going to go Rangers 2-1.
Yeah, okay. You've tried that gag twice. Ruffy tried that the other night there, and it's still nothing, just tumbleweed. And then eventually people going, what was that you're having at the bar? Listen, Stephen Smith has got a great chance to enjoy it, and Alison was out there to chat to him.
Listen, I'll be proud. That's the first word I would probably use. But again, it's never about me. Probably in a week's time or 2 weeks' time or maybe 2 years' time, I'll look back on it. But I really want to enjoy it, because I think there was times as a player when you just go day to day and you don't actually sit back and enjoy the moment that you're in. I'll enjoy it a lot more if we win, but that enjoyment will probably come in the days and weeks after.
Stephen Smith spoke to the media.
Sorry, Ali, we cut you off there. Obviously, you're in the studio, but Stephen Smith there, obviously, talking about how he's going to feel about it. It'll be a great day, and one that I think he'll remember for many a long time. Where his career takes him after that, who knows? So, give us your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win it? Rangers, Dundee United? Is there an upset there at Ibrox? Will the fans get right behind the team on the basis that they know that there's an incoming manager? And what do you make of that incoming manager? Is he going to be the real deal? Is this finally the right choice? It's a big choice for Rangers to make. And as everyone on the panel has said, got to get this one right. But is the season a write-off, or do you think Rangers can go on a long run? Charlie Adam was on in midweek, and he reckons that when he comes in, Rangers will go on a run and catch Hearts and be second at least in the table. He also said that Odsonne Edouard's still only worth 350 grand and Morelos is worth 30 million.
I think it'll depend how many points are behind when he eventually does come in, because you're talking, as Alison said, middle of November. There's a few games before then. You know, if Rangers don't pick up full points and Hearts and Celtic keep picking up the points, and they could be 10, 15 points behind, which is a big gap.
We're going to get to Hearts in a minute, but Dundee against Celtic. Maeda's out. Alistair Johnson's back in. Good news, Ruffy, for Brendan Rodgers there. This is what he had to say ahead of this one. I think every team that changes manager, you can always accept and take on that challenge of new ideas and that freshness that they may bring. Obviously, he's getting ready for possibly Kevin Muscat. I don't know Kevin that well, but I came across him a few times when I was at Liverpool. He's done a really good job in the teams that he's been at in Asia. If he's to be the new manager coming in, then it's another new challenge. As I said, for us, we'll be ready. And that point that he's making, Ruffy, is really the key to this. Whereas fans rightly get excited about a new man coming in and then ask the questions of the board to back him, none of that has an effect on the other sides who have to look at themselves. And Celtic are not going to stand still. Hearts, they're obviously going to look to respond in their own way. Celtic, at this moment have got their own troubles to seek with their fan base, and we'll talk about that shortly. But nevertheless, for his final season, Brendan Rodgers has got a chance to see off Rangers, and his biggest battle is with the Jambos.
Yeah, well, he's certainly seen off enough Rangers managers. I don't know what that head count is, the Rangers managers that have come in. But yeah, I think Hearts at this moment in time could cause a problem. It depends on how consistent they're going to be in the next couple of months. Obviously, they've got big games coming up. One of them's Celtic. It'll be interesting, if they can do it a bit. I think we all agree we want somebody challenging both of them, whether splitting them or whatever. So it's encouraging that they are winning games, but I say that I personally don't think they can contain it for the whole season.
Yeah, what about Celtic, Ali? Because we're about to talk about the fan unrest, which is continuing. And I have to say, over and above that, apart from the fact that there's a real breakdown in not only communications, but there's a real displeasure among the Celtic support for a number of problems that they see with this current board, and they want 3 of them out. Chris Mackay, Michael Nicholson, Peter Lawwell. I personally think the Celtic fans should be applauded for at least getting together and highlighting the problems. I don't think they'll get anywhere. That's my own personal opinion on it. I think this board has a ruthlessness and arrogance, and they are Loctite when it comes to where they're going with their strategy, and they've certainly shown disdain towards certain sections of the support, because as you know, all of these groups that have come together, they don't represent everybody. You can't say that these groups collectively are all the Celtic support. There are some people, I think, rightly so, have an opinion which favours the board in what they're doing. And I think you have to, and I always try and offer the balance on this, you have to compliment the board for the way they've gone about their business as a business. They've made mistakes, which I think they need to be called to account for. But there are lots of positives that they see, and they think that they're being missed in this whole argument.
Yeah, I thought the note that came out, or the notes that came out after they met a couple of weeks ago, I thought Celtic released a statement that tried to be conciliatory. It accepted that the summer window wasn't good enough, and I think that summer window has been the catalyst for so much of the unrest that you've seen across the last month or so. And I think much of that unrest has bubbled underneath the surface for a long time, way beyond this summer. You can go all the way back to the COVID season of some of that bubbling under the surface. And it came to the fore because of 2 reasons. The failure to add to the squad over the summer, and then the failure to beat Cara Almaty and make it into the Champions League. And it created a storm that doesn't look as though it's going to dissipate anytime soon. The campaign that was announced today, Not a Penny More, I think it's called, about not giving the club any money in terms of merchandise, food, etc., suggests that it's going to rumble on. I'm struggling to see where it ends. I'm struggling to see what the final outcome can be, because I don't think it will create significant change at boardroom level. I don't think that will come to fruition, and I think that is what their ultimate aim is. And I do wonder just what effect it has on the atmosphere in terms of being within the stadium, of playing in it, of results. I think you can sense the hangover around the club just now when you go in. It's the sourness across the summer months, I think, just hangs in the air just now.
Yeah, it's not any different from his first time around. Manager is well peeved, and he's hiding it well, putting on a brave face, possibly conducting the press conferences the way that he's had meetings with the board to try and hide his displeasure at the whole thing.
Just like Groundhog Day, isn't it?
Yeah, but his team is playing the exact same way he feels. They look as if they're scunnered.
Yeah, and Alisson's right. It's going to affect the atmosphere, I think, at Celtic Park, Peter, and that's not good for the players, it's not good for the manager, it's not good for the team. When it starts to affect the players, then they've got to look at maybe stopping it. But yeah, I think the Celtic supporters are well within their rights to continue this campaign. I seen at the Celtic club store today, there was big queues, looking to buy merchandise. I don't know if it's getting through to the majority, but as you've both touched on, what is the end game here? It's just going to be this, and then it will drift away, and they'll just get on with it, or is there going to be real change? It's probably just going to drift away for me.
Well, I think a lot of the collective, my gut feeling on this is a lot of the collective will try and, at some point, gather in as many shares as they possibly can, and try and structure their battle that way. Whether that's enough of the shares that they can get a hold of to suddenly have a major group that can, upset the apple cart.
A powerful voice as a single entity.
I'm not sure if they're able to pull that off. I certainly wouldn't rule it out. But the Celtic fan collective, as you rightly pointed out, have released this statement early today. Not another penny campaign. For too long, the Celtic board has taken supporters for granted. They are responsible for repeated failures in Europe, an archaic transfer strategy, a collection of non-executive directors, which they've abbreviated here to NEDs, who have grossly outstayed their welcome. Inflated ticket prices and unfair distribution, a neglected stadium, a stale atmosphere, a non-existent fan engagement model, an underperforming academy, an underfunded women's team, and a pitch unfit for playing football the Celtic way. I think they've fairly, caught most of the things that I think over a 13-year period on this programme, Ruffy, I've mentioned to you, season in, season out. Ali puts it to the COVID season. I put it long before that. A lot of Celtic fans were disgruntled with them. And I noticed Neil Lennon has come out and basically said that, they should be careful what they wish for, because Dermot and the rest of the board are the best men for the job, which is perfectly within his rights to say that. I do think they've got real positives, Ruffy. I don't think this is you can't have a hatchet job against them, because their stats back them up. Yeah,
I'm surprised at a lot of these things that they're not happy with. I think the main things, as Alison's touched on there, is obviously the transfer window and getting knocked out of the Champions League. I mean, I think they've just thrown...
You think that's an isolated incident? You think
no, I think that's the main crux of the whole thing. I'm surprised about all the other stuff that they've added in, because they're things that we've never thrown against Celtic, the women's team and all that, the pitch and everything like that. I think they are just extras that are thrown in. I think the main thing is the signing policy and getting put out of Europe.
I think there's an interesting point about the academy. I think if you had to look at it, you would say the academy structure at Celtic has probably been fairly successful, but the challenge that they have is trying to stand firm when you have clubs from England who come in and can cherry pick youngsters at 17, 18 and say, here is a massive amount of money, 10 grand a week to come and play in our reserve. It's very, very difficult to compete.
How many of them, Ali? How many of them have gone? 2?
Well, you could pick Doak, Cummings. Who else? Rocco Vata.
The boy that went to Bayern Munich. But I think they're looking at the overall academy and saying.
But I think the landscape for any Scottish team, I do think there is a challenge when you get to.
An excuse for every one of these situations. What has happened with the academy? Is it delivering enough? Who's the last player from the academy that's come through on a regular basis?
I think you could say that about every Scottish team. Just now, I think you could look at.
Celtic spend a lot of money on their academy.
All clubs spend a lot of money on it. Like, I think you can. I don't think you can look at it in isolation. I think you have to look at it as part of a bigger picture. It's not as easy as saying we create talent who just go all the way into the first team, because there are so many different issues that affect players' progress. You maybe spend £11 million on a player like Engels. You're under pressure then to give him his chance to play him, even though you might have a kid in the reserves who's roughly maybe at that stage where at another club he might be getting game time. You've got to remember too, you're coming in.
Gone away, you think it's working?
I didn't say that. I said it's camouflaged. I think to say it's underperforming is probably unfair.
Yeah, Ruffy?
I think if you delve into it, I mean, you could pick up the wee boy Donovan looks a good player. The boy Kenny, centre forward.
Got him
from Ireland.
I know, but there are players like that, I suppose, ready to break through. But I just think, I mean, if they were still in the Champions League, would we be talking about all that? We know the transfer window was a mess, but I think they're just going a wee bit overboard now.
I agree.
I think they're just going a bit overboard.
Well, wow. Let me ask you this. If they'd beaten Cairo at Almaty, do you think they'd have forgotten about the fact that...
No, they wouldn't have forgotten about the side. No, they wouldn't have forgotten about the transfer window. That is done and dusted. But the other stuff that you've thrown in there at the end, I don't think.
Thrown that in. It's a collection.
No, I know, but I think if you'd done a survey, I would love to know the percentage that agree with that of Celtic supporters.
With reference to the women's team, how many Celtic fans turn out and support the women's team? I cover women's football. I see how under-supported it is by every faction. So even when Celtic won the league, when that women's team won the league in a historic season and the very first time that they won the league, there's so few people there. Celtic were in the Champions. The women's team were in the Champions League for the first.
We're arguing over 2 or 3 points, which are totally.
But what we are saying is it's becoming a cumulative effect of here are all the grievances here, and they're all coming to the fore.
I think the academy's underperforming. I would agree with Peter. So I think the Celtic academy's underperforming. If you watch them at under 16s, 17s, 18s, 19s level, I don't think they're the best.
But you hit
Celtic.
Yeah, no, but you hit.
Tam, the reward is you look at the percentage of players who are coming through, who've come from the academy. And I take Alison's point. It's hard at every academy to blood players, but if you look over a sustained period of 10, 20 years and say how many players have come through from the academy, and then you monitor it and say how much have you spent? Is it a success? Should they be demanding more? But again, I think there's a point here that Ali's saying about they're throwing everything into the mix. I think there's a wee bit of that. I think there's a bit of let's throw everything in.
It's like having an argument with your partner and then shouting, and another thing.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, but can I tell you something?
You never brought the bin in.
You're right. Absolutely. I have actually. No, I'm not going to say because I'll get pelters. Anyway, no. But I was going to say this. The core of what the Celtic fans are unhappy with is the thing that made the manager unhappy first time around and second time around. And the previous managers, apart from Ange Postecoglou, who was a quick appointment after they'd made a back end of the Eddie Howe deal, which they wouldn't allow him to bring in his own team. They wanted their own people still in there, to control things. Previous managers before that, and a strategy has left them peeved. It's not a unique thing. It's not going back to COVID. It's going way beyond that. It's a recurring theme of last-minute transfers, last-minute deals, poor recruitment at times. And for every, I always said this, for every Victor Wanyama, there are 9 or 10 other players that haven't cut it. And the point here is they've been sold a narrative which is you can't compete in European football. And that part of it is where the Celtic fans are unhappy. They've looked at it and said, you never backed the manager then. This is a recurring thing. You've done it before relentlessly. And this board, I think, to offer the balance on it, Tam, have got a number of things right. It's a well-run business. But somehow, along the way, Celtic fans want it to have a bit of ambition, buy players early, don't give them excuses because every other club has to work under difficult parameters. Go and get some people that are not projects that can enhance this side.
Yeah, I think you see with the new Champions League format that Celtic were in last season, there's a real opportunity for a Celtic or a Porto or a Benfica, a so-called smaller club in that arena, to go and do well and get into the knockout stages. And I think Celtic seen the 2 legs against Bayern Munich and thought, that's Bayern Munich and we're giving them a game over 2 legs. Now's a chance to go and kick on in the summer and go again next season. Forget Kairat Almaty. We should be looking to try and get into the last 16 or the last 8. If we back the manager, and that never happened, Peter. So I think that's where the problems are coming from. They didn't back Brendan Rodgers in the summer when he's probably went, listen, if you want us to go and to get to that level again or go further, I need this, and this. They ended up getting probably nothing.
The other problem is just the staleness across the team. It feels stale. It feels like there are too many players that are there too long or are playing too many games. You're relying on the same players. This season it feels very much of going through the motions. That it's felt turgid. It's like watching a team running on empty. It feels there is nothing fresh about it. All the energy is drained from that team. It's in sharp contrast to the kind of football that Brendan Rodgers was known for at his time at Celtic, coming in and saying that we play fast, aggressive, purposeful football. It just seems very side to side,
flat.
The whole thing seems flat.
The other thing as well, there's a lot of people, a lot of players there now don't want to be there. That's never been the case 2 or 3 years ago.
You're wrong, Ruffy. That was the case when he was there the first time.
No, I'm talking about the players. I'm talking about the players themselves.
Mutiny, I'll get banned for another 10
I'm saying the players. There's like Hatate, I don't wants another move. Maeda wants it. Jota goes. Thingby goes. They're all.
Boyata.
It's so yeah, but it's okay.
Dembele.
Yeah, but it's okay them saying we're a selling club. I think a lot of supporters are saying why are we a selling club? We've got so much money. Why do we need to sell these best players?
No, because I've no problem with that, Ruffy. I've no problem with every club in Scotland and some down south have got players that will come to your club and they'll want to move on because they've put in a shift and they've been sold this, listen, do well here and clubs will look at your stepping stone. That's
part of the
fine.
marketing strategy.
But the whole aspect of this, which I think a lot of people are looking at, is the recruitment's poor. The timing of the recruitment at times is poor. And the whole blueprint here, Brendan Rodgers did not sign all those players. I don't care if somebody's put out that he's got a last and final say on it. He wanted 3 quality players and he gave them the evidence to say, why wouldn't you back me? Look at the performance against Bayern Munich. Look at the way Celtic played. That is evidence enough for them to say, back him. Take him to another level. Don't spend 14, 15 million a player. No Celtic fan in his right mind has said that to them. They've just said, better player recruitment and keep buying 1.5 million pound projects. And some of your recruitment that you've spent 9 million on was a knee-jerk quick reaction on Ida, and the other one, Engels, hasn't stepped up to the plate at all. Though I think they'd see if they just sell Engels right now, they'd struggle to get 7 or 8 million for him. I think he's been.
But that's why I'm saying they should protest on these facts. They should protest on everything you've said there, not talking about the pitches unplayable and the academy.
That's just another
thing. But I know.
That's just another smokescreen, Ruffy. You know that Alison's right. 3 or 4 of them have been added in, and they've cooked the cake up. You're absolutely right. I'll need to speak to Fred about, obviously he's taken out the bin in good faith, put out the blue bin, and it's a bloody black bin day. Do you know what I mean, Ruff? I've had that time. You can't win. You know what I mean? You're a Maggie your dinner. Any chat? No. I'm looking after the kids as well. Calm down. So it's one of those. Give us your thoughts. Celtic, are they going to win? Stephen Presley thinks this is a good time to play them because they're there to be got at. Motherwell proved it. If it hadn't have been for that chaotic goalkeeper from your union, they might have got 3 points.
Yeah, they might have been, but I don't think Dundee are anywhere near Motherwell. I think, unfortunately, I read about a stat this morning that the last time that Dundee won against Celtic at Dens Park was in 1988, when a certain goalkeeper was playing for Celtic. Unfortunately.
Did you play that day? Yeah. Was it a cross ball that came in?
No, I bet you can get the goal scorer.
Albert Kidd.
No.
He's just in my mind, sorry, anyway.
Yeah, Tommy Coyne.
Well done.
Yeah. So
1-0.
1-0.
I've still got my man of the match trophy.
You at fault?
Not at all. No, it was Big Roy.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Roy Aitken's come in for an absolute power this week. David Moyes picked his 5-a-side team and said Big Roy's a sub. I thought you'll be happy with that, by the way. Anyway, Celtic against it. I mean, listen, Dundee at the best of times this season. He's trying to get a side that can, maybe get a few. Simon Murray's a problem. He's going to have a late fitness on him. But he hasn't had a smooth run, and he wants players back from injury. He wants to try and mould a team. Meanwhile, he's also suffering from the Russell Martin effect, which is fans don't like him.
From the very off, you're swimming against the tide, and it's been a tough season. I think I don't see them really getting out the bit over the course of the campaign. I think they'll be down at the bottom end of the table. I think Celtic will prevail on Sunday. I think they'll win it, come away from Dens Park with all 3 points, but I think it'll be awkward. I don't see it as a fluent, straightforward afternoon for them. I think they'll probably have to grind it out.
No, I think the opposite for Alison. I think they'll do them 3-0.
Dundee?
Yeah, I think they're still creating the chances.
Dundee will beat Celtic 3-0.
Celtic against Motherwell was 26 shots at goal. At some stage,
I think he means 3-0 Celtic.
They are going to hit the back of the net sometime, and Dundee are going to get it at the weekend.
3-0.
I don't see that, Peter. I'm the opposite of that.
Neither do I.
I did call, obviously, Motherwell, because Motherwell play open and expansive. I expected Celtic. I think Dundee will sit in. I know Elvis is a coach. I think they'll sit in and try and make Celtic break them down. I don't see anything for this Celtic team coming up against a packed defence that goes, they're going to take 3 or 4 off of them. So I think this might be a 1-0 Celtic or a 2-1 Celtic.
Yeah, I've got 2-1 Celtic. The other thing, I've obviously a big advice to maybe the Dundee people who are out selling macaroon bars and chewing gums, there'll be none bought. Not a penny. There'll be nothing. There's no spending in anything, even though it's dead.
But someone else's stadium. Someone else's
I know,
stadium.
but they've just brought us a
We
blanket.
pays, wrong pay, wrong pie.
Yeah,
Wrong mince.
Don't knock the Dundee people. Okay, sorry about that for the Dundee fans and Stephen Presley. Let's talk about Tam. Let's talk about this season's champions. Hearts are away to Kilmarnock.
Come on, Kelly. Prick that.
I'll tell you, by the way. Hey, listen, if they beat Kilmarnock and they beat Celtic, are we now on overdrive in the North
If
area?
you thought I would have a sore stomach on Monday, you might see me next Monday. Listen, I think they've got two massive games coming up. Kilmarnock have started the season really strongly. Tough place to go. If Hearts can go down there and beat them, and I think it's a later kick-off, it's live on the TV. If they go down there and win and then beat Celtic, a lot of people will be taking them as title challengers, but there's a long way to go, and I think Kilmarnock are capable of picking up a point against Hearts, but you wouldn't be surprised if Hearts go down and grind out a win as they have been doing. So it's a really big game for both clubs, but I'm going to go for a draw.
Yeah, I mean, Derek McInnes himself can look back with some pride at what he achieved at Kilmarnock, which eventually got him a move, and he's going back there, maybe to say hello to a few friendly faces and thank a few for all the support he got at Rugby Park.
I get the emotion of it all and how it quickly turned towards the back end of the season, but I can look myself in the mirror and say I did everything right by Kilmarnock. The only thing I'd said to them that if Hearts made the approach, that I wanted to speak to Hearts, and that was the only thing that probably didn't sit well with a lot of people at Kilmarnock. But the main people at the club, from Billy, Phyllis, and Greg McEwen, they were all fully aware. But when I look back now, I made it clear, I made it known through my agent to Hearts and Kilmarnock that I wasn't going to speak to Hearts until Kilmarnock was safe, and I feel good about that.
Yeah, Derek certainly his stock has grown over the last few years. Left Aberdeen. Obviously, I think he would himself say that they should have won a few more trophies while he was there with Tony Docherty. At Kilmarnock, good stability, kept him in the league. Had to build a couple of sides at Rugby Park, and then got that move to Hearts. I wonder how he'll be received when he gets down there. Pelters?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think most Kilmarnock fans would accept he done a good job at the club, and would also appreciate that he's moved on to a bigger platform in Hearts. I was actually at Rugby Park at the end of last season, and it was fairly clear it was a farewell when he walked around the perimeter of the stadium and gave a wave to the Kilmarnock fans. And then he wasn't very keen on talking about it when he came into the press room. It was, a remit not to ask about the Hearts job, and I think for any of us in the industry, that's pretty much a banker that is on the cards. I think it'll add a bit of spice to tomorrow's game. It adds an extra layer of intrigue. But I'm curious about how Kilmarnock play. I think I've watched them the last couple of weeks. I was at the game against St Mirren. Played very well. St Mirren looked very average against them, and I've been impressed by St Mirren this term. I think Kilmarnock are difficult to play against, particularly on that pitch and on their home surface. So I'm curious just to see how Hearts negotiate this challenge, and then of course it opens up to the game against Celtic next Sunday.
Well, I have to say, Ruffy, of all the teams, I was impressed by Motherwell, the way they went about their business. Obviously, you get impressed by Hibs, but it hasn't quite turned itself into results. Hearts, again, the bench comes on and makes a difference. But I went up to Tannadice and watched Kilmarnock dismantle Dundee United, because they were great to watch. Young David Watson was good, and the boy Thompson at the back. They've got some really good players. They played some good football. Dacker's up front, the big tall guy, good touch for him as well. They've got some good footballers, and this one's going to be really tough to call.
Yeah, I thought the result up at Dundee United was a surprise. I don't think anybody saw that result. They've had two good results. They'll feel confident getting into the game, but Hearts at this moment in time just seem to nick it when they need to, and I think they'll do that at the weekend. I think it'll be I hope the weather's good, because last week the wind and everything killed it. So I'm going to go for Hearts to win 2-1. Well, a late goal, 2-1.
Good to see Falkirk in contract talks. I think he deserves, that wee bit of a luck, the boy.
Yeah, I think he's a top player, Peter. He's just been, crippled with injuries, and very similar to John Souttar probably at Hearts. A guy who you thought he's a really good player, but he's just constantly injured. So I think if Craig Falkirk can keep his form up at Hearts, then he's got a real opportunity to get a sniff of the Scotland squad. We're not blessed with centre-half, so and he's got good pace as well. So I agree. I think that he started the season in flying form. Him and Stuart Finlay are a formidable partnership at the back.
Yeah, well done to Derek McInnes, his second manager of the month. And Ali, 3,600 Jambos going to the game. And of course, the great thing about forward-thinking clubs like Kilmarnock is they allow a huge away support, which is great. Now I was at the derby, which was a proper derby because it had, a huge one end where there was.
Those numbers just reflect the excitement that the Hearts fans have and how they've bought into what Derek McInnes is doing. Sitting at the top of the league, so much to be excited about, and that's what happens then. You start to bring a bit of momentum to a team and a bit of belief, and people are desperate to be part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us your thoughts on the Jambos. Are they going to come a cropper, which obviously some people are hoping happens, but you can give us your thoughts. This is where the bubble's going to burst next two games. Killie and Celtic, if they took 6 points, would you think they were in the mix, Ruffy, to suddenly upset the apple cart?
I think if they win the two games, they could probably split the Old Firm.
Right.
Not win it. I'm not convinced that they're that good that they could go the whole season and win it.
Yeah, okay. What's your prediction?
2-1 Hearts, late goal.
One each.
One each.
One each. Okay, I'm going to go the Jambos to win 1-0. And then all roads lead to Tynecastle. What's wrong with you?
I'm just saying, fine. Every week.
Well, I'm doing not bad. They're top of the league. You should go to games. It's a really good thing. You get to see both teams play and the strengths and weaknesses of them. You and Ruffy should really take it up. It's a novelty. What about St Mirren against Aberdeen? Honestly, I thought I couldn't stop laughing. No disrespect to him, but I did actually, as Raphael mentioned to you, I did spot Nicky Devlin at one of our functions that we were at, and in true fashion, Ali, I had to leather him, and I asked him how the opened up bus parade was for winning the league game against Dundee, which went down like a lead balloon. But nevertheless, this is not at the moment unless something turns. I don't think it's that moment right now where Aberdeen are going to go on a long run unless you're going to tell me.
Still a lot of questions to be answered. There were flashes of it against Motherwell at Falkirk Park. The game they actually lost 2-0. That you could see more positive signs, which they've managed to get the positive result. But it now is a case of trying to just build a bit of momentum. I do think he's got players now hitting fitness and form that came in at the tail end of the window, like Stuart Armstrong, who should make a difference. But they need a consistent run of form across the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll try and react to some of the messages, and thank you so much to so many of you who put messages on the board, the live board. Kenny says Peter hates the Dons. I genuinely don't hate Aberdeen at all. I think it's a fantastic club, and I think it's run by thoroughly decent people in Dave Cormack, and I'm a huge fan of Alan Burrows. But I just think, at this moment, I don't think anybody's fooled by his record. I think he's got a long way to go.
He's linked with the Swedish job, and you wonder if it would be a really convenient out for both.
Yeah. No, I don't hate the Dons, Ruffy. I'm not fooled by what I'm watching.
No, but I think like the Dons fans as well, they're looking for something. They're looking for a change. I think, as you said, the emissions of Armstrong, I like the boy Carlson, I think that they're just a wee bit away from just getting it right. Whether they can go catch St Mirren on a wee bit of a downer just now is another thing. So I think the most they could probably get out of the game would be a draw.
Yeah, 3 wins out of 4. against Aberdeen last season. So
Yeah.
Stephen Robinson knows how to win against
Yeah,
them.
they had the Indian sign over them. I just think out-muscled them physically in a lot of those games, Peter. I'm not so sure of it. I think Aberdeen might beat St Mirren here. I was impressed with Aberdeen against Dundee. I think guys like Carlson, Nisbet, Armstrong have had a couple of weeks in international break to get some fitness work in. They've obviously played a few games before then. I think they've got a really, really good squad of players. I think they've got a better squad of players than St Mirren. And I think if they can stand up to that physical test at St Mirren Park, you know, you're always going to get under Stephen Robinson, then I think that Aberdeen can go and win that. So I'll go for, I don't know if it's an upset or not, but I think Aberdeen will beat them. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Aberdeen.
I'll go 1-1, Ali.
I'm going to say 1-1.
I'm 1-1.
Okay. Thanks to Ronnie Chapman, who says, Peter, would you not consider moving the show from 4 to 5 o'clock? Because obviously more people tune in. I mean, listen, it's a great point. We actually go live at 4 o'clock, just basically, Ruffy, to give everybody a chance who like having a go, giving their opinion, and then there's obviously the other people who like just going in and battering each other and forget about what everybody's talking about. But the good thing about it is, and this is our insight and all of our research, is that the majority of people, Ruffy, watch the programme at their own leisure later on at night. And that's the great thing. Near and far, UK, Canada, America, Australia, New Zealand, we've got a great support. The majority from here in the UK and Scotland, and we're absolutely delighted. Ronnie, it's a great suggestion, but the people who tune in for the live aspect of it is greatly appreciated. But the majority of people, and amazingly, Ruffy, which we found out is, of all the people who subscribe, there are 70% who watch the programme regularly who don't subscribe. So we hope they're going to hit that button.
Yeah, well, you're giving them more to watch now, aren't you? You're more substance in the things that we're putting out there. So you would like to think that they would log into that.
Push the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the great thing is Cheryl, one of our fine reporters, mentioned to us, it was great because you could say tune in because there's 3 really good after dinner speakers, but you know, there's only 2 now. It just you get a body blow and it affects the whole.
You must have had a
He was rotten. It wasn't even. It was
confidence affected by it, Ruffy?
No, I bounced back on Sunday.
Yeah,
I just put it to the back burner, just like the football. If you have a bad game, you just go to put it out there and just go on with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, the bowls, the whole audience was up, or those that could be helped up, to give him a standing ovation. It was fantastic. So thank you very much. And Rob Lilly says only 15 likes on that one there, Rob. Believe me, we don't live by people like. Do you on Facebook, Ali? A lot. Do you live your life by somebody saying that they like you? No.
I very rarely post private stuff or personal stuff on any social media platforms.
From you of late.
I'm too old for that.
Yeah. Ruffy, you get a Facebook page? You know Facebook's where they share memories.
Yeah, they don't want to take the chance of people not like me.
In contrast, Tom's well used to it. Yes. Hibs against Livingston. Let's hear from Kerry Pollock.
Here at Livingston today, David Martindale looks ahead to his side's clash with Hibs, a team he feels are definitely going to push for a top spot this season.
For me, Malky's a really, really good footballing person. You've now got someone within the building, upstairs, helping make good football decisions, which helps David massively. And David knows the club inside out, and he's got a really good group of players, and I think they've recruited really, really well this year. So I feel as long as I've got that balance right in terms of upstairs, downstairs, are always going to be a competitive club trying to get in the top 4, for want of a better word.
As a nation, we are known to be a little critical, and that's something that Martindale feels is more evident than ever in the Scottish game.
I just think now everybody's looking for content, headlines, and that drives a negative narrative within the game. I bring boys up from down south. I've had boys come in from top level in European football, and I'll tell you what, they're no much better than us. But if you listen to the narrative down south, the marketing, the financials, you would be led to believe that we're kind of a lower class league, and down south magnificent and everybody's brilliant. I don't see that. I genuinely don't see that. I think the marketing of the product's better. I think the financials of the product's far greater. But I think the level of Scottish football we're very, very good at underselling it.
Livingston head to Easter Road this weekend. Kick-off is at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, he's got it kicking out against pundits, vloggers, everybody. We should be promoting the game.
I think he makes a great point, Peter.
Yeah.
I think that he's right with English Premier League. You sit and watch a game on a Sunday. You watch, I don't know, Fulham against Bournemouth, it'd be 0-0, it'd be rotten. You know, and you're looking at that and going, this is the best, maybe the best league in the world. So there's a lot of crap games down there as well. It's not just us up here. So I think he makes a great point there. Obviously, the other one about the vloggers and the YouTubers and all that. I think that's just the way it's social media now. Everybody's got an opinion, and I don't think that football people take those opinions too seriously in terms of YouTubers and guys like that.
Okay, who's winning?
Hibs 3-1.
2-0 Hibs.
3-0 Hibs.
2-1 Hibs.
Okay, Motherwell against Falkirk. Here's Kerry.
The Scottish Premiership returns this weekend, with Motherwell welcoming Falkirk here to Fir Park this Saturday, and the manager Jens Berthel Askew insists his side must leave the disappointment of Celtic Park behind them.
I don't think you have to kind of leave things behind you and move on. But thinking about it now, yeah, obviously we are still got it that we went home from Parkhead without any points, but. I think the performance and our approach to the game gives us some really good confidence as to how to be able to beat them when we play them the next time.
Despite almost taking maximum points in Glasgow, the manager insists that his side won't overlook Falkirk this weekend.
We don't really, there's no arrogance in this club, there shouldn't be. And we know that all teams are very capable of, we've seen that. The games against the smallest clubs have been just as difficult for us as the games against the big clubs. And Falkirk is also a team that has done really well over the last seasons and who are very, very confident. There's a lot of consistency in the squad and the coaching staff. And you saw them against Rangers that they were very, very competitive and made it a really, really difficult game for Rangers. So I expect that to be here. I expect them to come here and be brave.
It all takes place here this weekend. Motherwell against Falkirk. Kick-off is at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, thanks to Kerry. Paul Brady says, has Kerry got a helicopter by any chance? Yeah.
Did you hear it Grafton this week?
Well, she did Grafton.
2 gigs for a change.
And the helicopter didn't change direction at any point, Ruffy. Motherwell against Falkirk. Looking forward to it. I think there'll be lots of goals. And if it hadn't been for your goalkeepers union, Motherwell for me could have had 3 points against Celtic.
Or possibly, yeah. Obviously, I let go for Celtic. If the boy hadn't, made that mistake, they probably got something out of the game. I think they really need to start winning games. I mean, I think we all agree they're playing good football, but they've only won one game in the league. That they need to start picking up 3 points, because this is the kind of game that Falkirk will go there and try and get a point, and every point will be precious for them.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you going for?
One each.
One each.
3-2.
5 goals. Thanks for that, Ali. I'm looking forward to it.
4-2 to Motherwell.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go 3-1 Motherwell. Give us your thoughts on it as well.
It'll be a great game, I think.
Fantastic.
That's one for it to watch.
Yeah.
Great game, yeah.
Really looking forward to it. Don't forget to look for Tam and myself giving you the odds on these games, and you can give us your predictions on that as well. David Moyes is out there on our YouTube channel. You can listen to him talking about, of course, his career with Everton on 2 occasions, winning that European trophy at West Ham. And over and above that, his thoughts on Steve Clarke in Scotland and his time at Manchester United. Well worth having a listen to, and there's lots of great content coming up that I think you're going to enjoy on PLZ Soccer. Thanks to everyone for their opinion. We value it greatly. For those who don't listen to it live and don't watch it live, we also would like you to hit the like, share, follow, and over and above that, if you want to join us in PLZ Premium, you might get a chance to head to Budapest to the Puskas Arena Champions League final. 2 tickets and, of course, flights and accommodation as well. You'll be in the prize draw the minute you subscribe to that for the season. Okay, thank you very much to lots of people. Rob Lilly says Moyes was a good listen, shared it with an Evertonian. Thank you, Rob, for that. We really do appreciate you sharing it as well. And we take your points on board. We try and build as big as we possibly can. We're up against the big guns, but 7 days a week. Ali, our reporter, Cheryl, Kerry, Cara out there as well. Lots of content from Kobe up in the northeast as well, and Moira out in the northeast too, out there in Edinburgh. Keeping you right up to date with it all. And Cheryl, absolutely, well, she's the engine in the whole machine as well, keeping us all going. So every one of them doing their job to try and bring you as much good content as possible. Hit the like, share and follow. And from Ruffy, who's bounced back and is now big in the bowls clubs, but not big audiences, because then he gets stage fright. Thanks to Alison. Don't forget to put out your blue bin on a blue bin day, or you're going to get pelters. And if anybody's got any spare oysters, could you send them in for Tam to see if he's going to take another couple of weeks off because he's feeling poorly. Thanks to everyone for listening and watching.